On this episode of Roadworthy Rescues, we do opposites with the square body. We small block swap a big block, and Dave puts 22s on. And bangs.
Yes, this is a good one, man. And it actually is running out.
Yeah. Well, a guy needs a truck for his other shop, Volunteer Muffler and Performance. So we found this 1987 one-ton dually Chevrolet. It hasn't run in 15 years, but it's got a big block. Dave's here because I want to slam this thing to the ground, put semi-wheels on it.
I'm here because this thing's already got chicken lights and chrome, which means this is gonna be the coolest 80s shop truck ever.
Yes.
Yeah, he hit me up and he was like, can you come out and lower this thing? And I was like, that's my jam. So I am here to lower this non-running truck, apparently.
But we got to be able to pull a trailer is the key.
Piece of cake.
Awesome. Well, let's walk around this, see what we bought here. It looks delicious. Oh, did you see the mold over here?
It's got, I guess you guys would call this patina.
Yes.
I call it moss. They emptied out the accessory catalog on this thing. Did you see the aftermarket slider window with like the little TIG welded corners?
Oh, it's got a cargo lamp. She was loaded up.
Yeah.
Oh, the High Sierra, that's why. No-dos, that's how you know it was a work truck. Yes, big blockage. And there is why everybody that was going to buy this truck opened the hood and then slowly closed it and walked away. Terminator broccoli injection is terrible, mechanical.
Did you call it Terminator broccoli?
Yes. I believe that's what it stands for.
They should write a book on how to understand Derek.
GM did crossfire fuel injection for a couple years on the Corvette. That was
garbage.
It's terrible. Then they did this from 87 to 95. It took them that long to realize this was also
Garbage.
terrible. This is terrible. Look at all the zip ties and there's wire and Walmart fittings and.
Check this out. It's got house plumbing on the power steering.
Well, you want them gas line pipes on the power steering.
At least this is back when GM didn't use side posts.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
Oh, I just heard a little sparkle.
You want me to get in and see if the keys are right?
Yeah, new clamp installed.
Get the heater going.
I heard a click.
Yeah.
Hey, it's turning.
Are you kidding?
All right. Ain't got no fuel.
It seems to have the compression though.
Watch that light for me, see if it blinks.
Yep. Derek's jumping right into this stuff. Keep it down over there.
So since we've got spark and it's got compression, it seems like, we're moving on to fuel. So I've got to test this fuel pump. It's an in-tank digital fuel pump. So if that pump doesn't work, we got to figure out a different plan right away to even try to make this work, or just go to plan F, rip all this garbage off and
put a carburetor on it.
Yeah. This is our Terminator broccoli injectors. We got 2 of them, and it's just a little solenoid in there that basically when it's hit with power, will pss, 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 squirt fuel in here, and then it does science and mixes and fire. To test that, I'm just gonna take a 9-volt battery and we're just gonna apply power this way, and we should hear that solenoid click if it's working. I'm doing this because if these aren't working anyway, we're wasting our time with all the fuel pump chasing and all of that, because we could just plop a carb on here and get on the road. And now, sure enough,
They're clicking.
they're clicking. So that means they will fire fuel. So we've got to figure out how to get a high pressure pump in the system, or cut it in, or make it happen, or replace fuel. I don't know, there's options.
It turns out the real reason Derek had me come out here is just to do the heavy lifting or the sketchy stuff like cutting the fuel lines on a truck with a grinder, hoping not to die.
Is this the first time you've done that?
Yes, this is the first time I've done it. This is stupid. Cutting.
See?
Yeah,
You're still alive. Okay, ready?
All right, we got fuel.
Pressurizer.
Yep. What you want to do is get all the acorns and the leaves all soaked in fuel
Yes,
so that when you get a backfire, you can cook a hot dog.
exactly.
All right.
He's gonna try to fire it up right now, see what happens.
Cranking.
It's doing the thing.
It's got all the oil pressure.
Does it?
Yeah. Let me throw it in reverse and see what happens.
Okay.
Reverse.
Yes! Solid reverse.
Let's see if we got first. Cranking. It goes forward.
Hey, we got a work truck.
Yeah.
So we heard the engine run a little bit. That was on 7 PSI. It didn't have enough fuel pressure when we were giving it more throttle. We heard it lean popping and everything like that. At least that's what I'm confident in saying. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this tank open with the grinder. Try to drop this in there. This is what's supposed to go in the original tank, but we're definitely not gonna drop that. Oh yeah. Okay, let's see if that spews. It's definitely returning.
Yeah.
Fire it up.
Okay. It's gonna run like a top, huh? Oh, it runs way better.
Swiss watch. There we
It's
go.
getting better. Look at that. Did it just do that on its own? Dude, look at all the spray. We have already burned 2 gallons of gas, I think.
Yeah. Boy, there is a lot of different things burning on that engine. Seems to hold RPM good, it just doesn't want to idle.
Yeah.
It's sounding pretty clanky now.
I know. It got kind of knocky.
We got no oil pressure.
Where'd it go? Fun with oil.
Joining oil bay 1, check.
Oh, there it goes.
We're moving back to firing it up. We're hoping to see the oil pressure come back up again so we can run it long enough to let the head gaskets and all the other gaskets do their thing and further check the rig out, so. No oil pressure.
What's that?
No oil pressure again.
Really?
Didn't you hear that? It's back to 0.
How does it have intermittent oil pressure?
It's got to be a bad gauge.
We found a tire store in town that has some 16s on the shelf, so we're gonna take four wheels down there and get them swapped out. So we're busting these off real quick. We've got like some secret wheels and tires that are coming to Derek's house if all goes well. All right. So we don't really need to waste money on 6 now, do we? Don't get under there, chicken. There's no jack stand under the back. No, don't go under there. There's a chicken under the truck.
So right now I'm replacing the throttle position sensor, the IAC, and also the map sensor over here. And I also found that the O2 sensor was unplugged, so I got that plugged back in. All of those basically control the air fuel mixture, idle speed, all of that. So hopefully that'll make the trip back to the shop much easier. Well, the 87 dually out here in Kentucky is alive once again. We actually moved it like 15 feet.
Yeah, I don't know if this thing's been sitting for 15 years or more, but this thing is going to be the pride of the fleet if you get it home.
We kind of just piddled around today. We didn't do any big work, but it was all necessary stuff, some sensors. Our homemade fuel tank is working excellent.
Yeah, that
by the
thing's
way.
cool.
We've decided to take the back road because we have not even looked at spark plugs or any of the ignition or wheel bearings or U-joints or rear end or so. Lots can happen. We
Yep.
still have over 200 some miles back to my place.
Yep. Second gear.
Second gear.
Come on, third. Did it hit third?
Ever in third?
Got some acorns in the tires.
Speedometer definitely doesn't work. It says we're doing 55.
Good brake check, test, checker.
See, now it's not doing that weird lockup thing.
It just worked the rest out.
Let's rejuvenate. Ooh, now she's starting to.
Oh yeah, that's starting to sound like a bad engine.
Yep. Or zero oil pressure. So our weird oil pressure problem,
It wasn't weird at all. It just was an actual problem.
yeah, it doesn't have oil pressure and this thing is knocking on heaven's door. We made it like 6 miles, which,
That's almost roadworthy.
you know,
Derek bought this red truck and he thought it was so cool that he bought a red trailer to tow behind it. The irony is that we're about to throw the red truck on the red gooseneck trailer. Kind of a walk of shame for a little red truck, I think, but whatever. We'll get it back to a shop and figure out the engine and suspension and all that later.
well, yesterday we were in Kentucky. Today we're in Tennessee at Vice Grip Garage. We finally made it home with the dually, which means the real work starts now.
Yep, this thing made it home on the trailer it was supposed to be towing, but whatever. It should be good. Derek is now going to be building an engine. We have a couple options there, and I am going to be working on the rear suspension, trying to get this thing to lay down on the ground. All in all, this thing should end up being really cool. It's just going to be a ton of work.
Yeah, and we got like a couple days to do it.
Yeah.
First up is we got to get this bed off so Dave can start doing his thing, and then I'm going to get the hood off and start doing my thing.
Perfect.
So I've got to get this 454 out and initially just assess the damage. Hopefully we can rebuild it. The plan is just to do a really cheap, dirty rebuild on this thing. But that means a lot of this stuff is just gonna go away, and it's gonna be a nightmare digging through that, but it has to be done. Right now I'm getting all the accessories off up here, have it ready to pull on top, then I gotta get underneath, drain the engine, drain the transmission, get the cross member off, take the drive shaft off, and then have Dave help me, and we're gonna pluck this out with a forklift. But we're not gonna put the TBI back on. I'd actually like to put a better flowing intake on, and then a Holley Sniper. So it's still gonna be fuel injected, but this is bring her into the here and now. So Dave has hustled and got this bed ready to remove. I think he even disconnected wiring. He didn't just cut it. So we're gonna try to manhandle this bed off. We're gonna use a couple guys from the production team here to help us, and then set it up on the front or ender side, and then you can cut it and dice it however you need to.
This is good. I haven't got to cut up a perfectly good square body in years.
I think we figured out the random oil pressure issue we were having. On the way back, I started thinking it's got to be the screen's plugged up or the pickup tube has fallen off of the pump itself. Well, we just drained the oil and confirmed that it was in fact a plugged pickup screen. I've never seen this before, and I've been doing this decades. Mouse House and probably several Mises came out of the drain plug hole into the pan. So without question, mice actually blew up our engine. It wasn't us. Trying to save some time here, so we're just gonna throw a chain over the fork and just see if we can snag this thing out of here.
I broke out the grinder and the air hammer, and I've been getting rid of all the extra brackets on the frame. Everything was riveted onto this chassis, so rather than unbolting it all, I'm having to cut the rivets, air hammer them out, and I'm just about done. I almost got like a clean slate to work with, so it's moving along pretty good.
So what I'm gonna do here quick is go ahead and disconnect the torque converter from the flex plate, set it back down, separate the transmission from the engine, then get the engine onto an engine stand. Take off the intake, valve covers, and heads. See how bad this thing is. We also gotta pay close attention to the cylinders in this and see if we wallered them out. So I'm gonna lift this 124-pound intake off, and we're gonna see.
I'm gonna spill my coffee. Oh, geez. Oh, dang. That's where they were at. It looks kind of like a dead raccoon in there. The crank's not wiped out, though. Oh, that's gross. Oh, you touched it. Oh, there's the seat padding and part of the carpet.
You know, the good news is the push rods are polished. I mean, they're looking really good. Yep. This right here is why the engine was starved for oil. It was completely plugged. We'll pull a main bearing really quick. Smoked. Main bearings are trashed. At minimum, we're gonna need main bearings. The rod bearings don't look that bad. The challenge is gonna be this crank has been worked, so it's been machined, so the bearing sizes aren't standard. And that's something that the local parts store is not going to have in stock. So we're gonna make some phone calls and see if we can get this thing put back together. So unfortunately, after I got the heads off this big block, it was very apparent that, well, this wasn't gonna work. There was a ton of piston slop. It was either bored wrong or the pistons were the wrong size. Either way, this setup was not going to work without a bunch of machine work. So I'm gonna have to dig through Rusty Acres and try to find some other engine that we could find and just toss in this thing as a donor for now.
The big block is absolute garbage. I was so stoked to find out there was a real problem in there, not just like a piece of blue RTV in the pickup screen.
So that big block's gotta go away. I've got another engine that's blown up that I'm gonna rebuild. Your parts haven't showed up, or
No.
probably will never show up.
Yeah, that's fine. So are you swapping the 4-cylinder out of the forklift, or what are you doing
It's
now?
an option. Hopefully by the end of the day, engine transmission's in, and Dave's got C-notches, maybe?
Yep, I'm gonna start doing all sorts of fab work on the frame.
This is a early 70s small block Chevy 400. In fact, this engine came out of my Monte Carlo, my stock car tribute car. Remember in season 1 when we raced the Bel Air and the Monte Carlo around Thunder Hill Raceway? This is that engine. Something happened to it, it just doesn't run. We're gonna find out though, however, because the big block 454 that came out of the truck turns out is complete junk. This is the best budget way to do it. We're gonna put a cheap re-ring kit in this, some bearings, and then I got a surprise for you as far as the air and fuel induction. First thing I gotta do is get this outside, clean it up, and then we'll come back in, split these two apart, and get to rebuilding.
My job today is gonna be to step notch the frame in the back of this thing. I don't have parts for lowering the truck, but I have plate steel and this fancy plasma cutter. So I am going to come up with a cardboard design. I'm gonna hand this to Derek. He's gonna cut this thing out on this wizard machine. The plan is to use a flip kit for this axle. That's gonna take the axle and put it up on top of the leaf springs. And if you look here, just putting the axle on top of the leaf springs is gonna make this axle run into the frame rail. So I'm going to do what's called a big step notch in the frame. This is a cardboard template that will transfer over to 3/16 plate steel, and this will be our new frame rail. It will be stepped way up here. That'll give us room for the axle to come up. It'll give us a good spot to mount that fifth wheel attachment ball, the airbag. This is going to be supplemental suspension on this, so it'll be lowered on the leaf springs, and then it'll have the airbag here so that when we load the trailer up, we can air the back of the truck back up.
So we're doing what you never hear of. We're small block swapping a big block. This is a small block 400 we have laying around. So I'm gonna start just disassembling this, make sure we can even rebuild this. I'm gonna take the front accessories off, the valve covers, get the upper valve train off, the intake, the heads. Roll this over, get the oil pan off, do a thorough inspection of the bottom end. Get all of the guts out of this thing, clean everything up, re-ring it. We're gonna hone this thing. We're gonna put new main bearings and rod bearings, put it all back together and hope that it runs well. Great news and even better news. There's only one bad main bearing and one bad rod bearing. And I think what actually killed it was a bad head gasket and most likely hydrolock, but no bent valves, no bent push rods. Cylinder walls look great. This is 100% rebuildable. So we're gonna go ahead and clean everything up. I'm gonna polish this crank at home here for about $5, re-ring this thing, put all new bearings in, tighten it back up. So hopefully we'll be making as much horsepower as we can out of this little thing. No, we're not gonna put a camshaft in it right now, but we'll get what we can out of it, and maybe slightly a little bit of fuel economy. Nope, that'll never happen.
All right, I got the notch plates in. These are the ones that Derek cut on the plasma machine. Now they're all tacked to the frame. I was able to weld the insides of them, which is kind of cool. That'll make the frame quite a bit stronger. So next, I gotta straighten them out a little bit, get them all perfect, and then I'm gonna cap them top, front, back. Once all that is welded in place, then I can go ahead and cut the old frame section out. Then it's really a step notch, but a lot of welding. I think I measured once, and a step notch was like 14 feet of welding all the way around by the time you're done. The cool thing on this is that since Derek bought that gooseneck trailer, I'm gonna be able to weld a cross member in here and take that gooseneck hitch that the truck had originally, and with it being raised up to the height of this, it should keep it to where the truck can be low, but the gooseneck trailer's not dragging on the ground behind it. That looks awesome.
Well, good morning. Day 4 on the 87 dually.
The walls are closing in.
There's stuff just growing in, and hiding on the other side is Browder. Remember him from season 1 of the tow truck, all the lettering? He's doing this one. He's gonna do some pretty cool stuff here on the doors. I think that's pretty much it, because that's all we have to paint on. I'm gonna be rebuilding the engine today, putting rings and bearings and painting that up, and you're gonna flip the axle today.
Yep, I gotta go fight with those 200-year-old leaf springs that came from the bottom of the ocean. There's a bunch of rusty bolts, and there's actually a couple broken leaf springs in there. I'm gonna do my best to attempt to rebuild some leaf springs today.
Nice.
Not recommended, but sort of necessary on this one. These bolts that are behind the tire just kind of been getting slammed with road salt and debris, and rust and all that has built up so much inside of the sleeve of the shackle that I kind of have to cut through the bolt and the sleeve so that I can take this thing out. It's all kind of a mess. Normal rusty truck stuff, though. Come on out of there. Yes.
So I'm gonna take all these old rings off, and we're gonna clean these pistons up, and then we're gonna put new rings on here, oil rings, second ring and top ring, but we're gonna be gapping the new rings for boost. So one thing we gotta be careful about is this truck's gonna be under load with a trailer on it pretty much always, which means it's gonna be under boost pretty much always. And with the added pressure and heat, rings start to swell in the cylinder. And what we want to avoid is these ring ends colliding, and they could potentially crack or chip. And when that happens, it's total chaos in your cylinder. Your piston starts talking with other mechanical parts, and kaboom. So we gotta make sure we get that set up right. I'm gonna have to come over here to my ring grinder, and I'm gonna basically be using this spinning wheel to gently take off very minute amount of material off the ring, and then we're gonna go back and test it, come back here and grind, go back and test it. We can't put ring material back on. So when you file these, you wanna file with the ring face up, so you're filing down across the face, so you don't have any burrs or material or any foreign material sticking up. That can also cause damage. So it's actually quite a process if you wanna ring your engine correctly and get the most bang for the buck. And if you're building a race engine, high RPM and all that stuff, there are a lot of people that claim they can gain horsepower, big differences in horsepower, by just how they set the rings up.
There it goes. We got it. Piece of cake. So the rear suspension's coming together. I've got the flip kit in here. That gets you about 7 inches a drop. It's got a shackle on the back that's taller. That'll get you another like 1.5 inches a drop. And then this thing I'm doing up front is kind of a cool old trick where we're gonna knock the spring hanger off the frame and raise it up and re-weld it. So between the hanger and the shackle, that should be another 3 inches a drop. So this thing's gonna be slammed.
The engine assembly is actually going good. Crank is in. We tested all the clearances in here. Everything is looking great. It's a little bit tighter than I'd like to see, but it's nothing that's gonna throw this out of whack. I'm gonna test the clearances on the rods next, and then we're gonna go ahead and start dropping the pistons back in this block. Then get the pan and pump on, flip this thing back over, and get going to the heads, intake, and so forth. It's coming together really good though. I'm happy with it so far.
I've got all the suspension mocked up. I have a couple like little things I want to adjust on it still, and then I need to figure out airbags, but I wanted to see how low this thing's actually gonna sit. So, little end of day, check it out and see if it's awesome or not. The bottom of that hitch was 16 inches off the ground. And
I think you took all that up.
now it's hitting. I think it's gonna be low enough.
That looks pretty low.
Yeah, so the front will come down like 7 inches or 6 inches, and that'll sort of level it out a little bit, and then we'll get a little more weight back here, and it's gonna be good.
Good work, Dave. Looks awesome.
Super cool.
5 days ago, Dave and I pulled this tonner out of a yard in Kentucky. I've since pulled the big block out and we're putting the small block 400 in. We've got volunteer muffler on the way to do exhaust, so I've got to get the engine and transmission into the truck at minimum so that can happen. You can see Dave's already working away. What's on your plate today?
I got to button up this front suspension. We're doing drop spindles and springs, kind of keeping it simple up here with a bolt-in suspension. I got a bunch to do back there. It's crazy. This is a hard one.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, so we're just gonna get the wrenches flying here, see if we can pull this off.
I'm working on the front suspension here. We're trying to keep it simple and just doing a drop spindle and a drop coil. This is a 3-inch drop spindle, so that'll get us that much. And then that is supposed to be a 3-inch drop spring. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble everything, and if it's not low enough, we'll probably put some heat to that at the very last minute to get the front down a little lower. At minimum, we're putting rotors, pads, and new hubs on it, so all of this stuff should be pretty good to go. All right, I'm gonna bounce back here and work on this trailer hitch mount. You'll notice that the axle's not actually bottomed out in the notch. I built this notch really tall so that we could have a spot for the trailer hitch more than anything. So I'm gonna do a couple of tubes across here. The trailer hitch is gonna rest on the tubes and weld in, and then I'll fill in the voids on the sides. So this truck will have the ability to pull a gooseneck trailer, and we'll also keep the regular hitch off the back so that it'll be able to pull a bumper pull trailer. Once that's done, then it's time to figure out the airbag mounts. Kind of cool. The plasma table's making quick work out of this. I just test fit everything. It seems like it's gonna be good, and now it's time to burn it in. I will sort of finish that off with welding a new perch on the axle and then fabricating a plate that comes off of the side to grab this. So more cut and grind and welding back here, but it's coming together pretty good.
So what we got here is our small block 400 getting paired with the turbo 400 that was in the truck. Going to use the existing torque converter out of the truck, but we did put a new flex plate in because we were having alignment issues with our mini starter. Went together with ease. I'll lift this up and get the torque converter mounted to the flex plate, and then we get ready to stuff this back in the truck. Dave's gonna help me kind of guide this in. We're gonna use the forklift again because it came out so nice with it. And then he's got a tail shaft that he's got to try to plop into a cross member, and then I can get after the rest.
I think I'm gonna go, well, that's looking pretty good.
Whoa.
A little much there.
Hey, it's in.
There's an engine in the truck. Good work.
So this right here is a Wyand 142 supercharger. It's a root style supercharger. So as the engine rotates this, you can look inside here, and it's gonna be throwing as much air as possible down the app of this 400 here. These are typically bolt-on 100 horse, give or take. There's percentages out there, but I've used this one many, many times on trucks and Corvettes and you name it, and it's pretty consistent with the 100 bolt-on. It's right around 6 to 7 PSI of boost. I'm gonna try it with a Holley Sniper EFI system. We've used a bunch of these, I've done a bunch of them. They're really plug and play, and what I'm trying to do is just get, you know, ease of starting and reliability and all of that. So if someone at the shop jumps in, I don't have to tell them to pump it 42 times and hold it 3/16 throttle to get it running and all that. We should be able to plug in a tune and it should fire right up. We've got a few different things we're gonna be plugging in here. I'm just gonna keep plugging away on wiring tonight, see if I can get this thing finished up.
Well, we are in the final day. Actually, we added an extra day. We're out of time. I'm finishing up the sniper system. A radiator needs to go right here.
We were here till like 1:30 last night, this morning, whatever. I got the rear suspension all buttoned up, all the welding's done, so I'm gonna clean it real quick and paint all this stuff black. Hopefully by the end of the day, it runs like a truck.
So it's probably worth mentioning on Holly's behalf that in the instructions it says, don't put this on a supercharger. Whoops. So I've slightly modified, again, not recommended. I've taken the fuel regulator out of the sniper system itself. I'm putting in my own boost reference fuel regulator system back here. Gonna kind of hide that in the back. So when the system senses boost, we're gonna be able to throw more fuel pressure at this system and keep this thing fat and happy. Chad and Donnie from Volunteer Muffler came up to do exhaust on the truck, but Dave has already modified some purple Hornies from a previous project on the show and put an O2 in one of them, and I think we're just gonna let good enough be alone for a while. So I've convinced him to help otherwise. Donnie's down there putting in some fittings for the transmission cooler lines, and Chad right now is fixing up a lightning hose for the coil to the distributor. So I've got the job here of getting this truck completely wired. So we had to strip all of the TBI stuff out, and now I'm working on integrating the Holley sniper system into the factory truck harness, as well as an MSD ignition box. And then we've got to tie also our new vintage USA gauges into the original harness. My hope is to have all of the gauges up in here working, plus like the turn signals, the high beams. This is gonna hurt my brain.
I'm putting the truck jewelry on. This is like the best part of this whole build, is getting to see it lowered down with big wheels and tires on it. We got people working all over the place. It's chaos. Hopefully this thing's gonna fire up in a couple minutes and we should be able to roll it outside, tow a trailer, look like superheroes, turn around, come back, fall asleep.
We're trying to get this thrown together as fast as possible so we can go drive this thing. Dave's flight is early in the morning, so we're frantically trying to get this done. He's throwing on tires and wheels. I'm swapping the 5th battery in here so we can run the Wizard on the Holley, do some basic tuning. We got seats trying to go in. There's things happening.
Come on, thing. It's got compression.
Okay, we might could not have spark. Someone's got to watch this light, see if that blinks. No blinking? Well, unfortunately, we do not have lightning. We don't have any spark. I thought that one of the parts, the distributor, might be bad, so thankfully we ordered another one. So we're gonna do that swap right now, but it's quite a bit of work. And if we don't get spark that way, we're gonna nix the ignition box and then put in an old school HEI. Fortunately, we can't do our drive tonight, but you moved your flight.
Yep, I'm gonna stay till like tomorrow afternoon. So I'm gonna go back there and mess around with the springs. I have a shackle that's smashing into the bed floor. It's a late night all around.
But hopefully, test drive rescheduled for tomorrow, bright and early in the morning, and that's when we'll see you guys next. All right, here we go, Dave. Well, good morning. It was another really late night, but look.
We have a truck.
It drove outside. The trailer is doing trailer things. It's sitting great. The suspension, Dave, you nailed it.
Dude,
Looks awesome.
the amount of work that went into this unassuming truck was amazing.
We pretty much blew it as far apart as you can in a handful of days and back.
Yep.
So, last thing to do, go drive. Pull the
Alright.
trailer.
Let's see if it does its thing. It's just an old truck. Why would it stop doing its thing now?
Yeah.
Good work, dude. This thing made it out of the shop.
Likewise.
Huge win.
Man, that was a lot of work.
How's engine temp?
80 pounds of oil pressure at 180 degrees. Charge it. Full tank of gas. We're set.
Man, I think the guys at the muffler shop are gonna love hauling things back and forth all the time in this truck.
I have a feeling the parts bill and the fuel bill is gonna go up. Man, I love goosenecks. Well, we made it to a coffee break spot. We got a drum smoking and the rear end's about to grenade, but we made it.
This truck made it out of the garage. A day and a half ago, this thing was 4,000 piece puzzle scattered about.
Wild. We blew this thing about as far apart as you can go in a handful of days and back.
Yeah.
We picked it up and unassumingly it looked like it was gonna be an easy project and then it just went this way. Tore out a 454, budget rebuilt a 400, put that back in with the supercharger. We got new hubs and rotors, and Dave step notched it, put bags on it.
We're days overtime right now, but the thing ran and drove, it towed a trailer, it did all the things we set out to do. It looks cool.
Yeah, these 22-inch semi wheels that have been machined to fit with special spacers and adapters.
It's crazy.
And brakes, rotors, hand-lettered paint. Door panels, carpet.
You even had, like, there's gauges in here that have the muffler shop logo in them. It's insane, the amount of work that went into this. I mean, it's got, like, a radiator and fans, there's electrical, there's 300 feet of wiring. It's ridiculous.
The best part is we're absolutely going to use this truck a lot. It's an actual shop truck. It's gonna have this trailer on all the time. We're gonna be hauling projects and cars. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
This one's not getting parked on the side yard like all the others?
No, it's gonna stay out of Rusty Acres.
All right, drag it back to town?
Yeah, let's go the long way though.
All right.
I'm actually having quite a bit of fun. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode, but stay tuned, there's plenty more to save.